Hi folks, welcome to Open Source Options. Today I want to show you how you can easily segment or digitize features in QGIS using some GeoAI, specifically using the segment anything model that's adapted for geospatial imagery. And to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, let's go ahead and just take a look here. If I zoom in here on this area, you can see there are some rocks. If I come into my GeoSAM tool, we'll use the GeoSAM plugin. I have some different options for doing this. I can use these points here. I can click on a object and you can see that it gets segmented just like that. I can go back and clear those. Once I add that in, I can save it and I can digitize these rocks very easily just with the single click of a button. So it's super easy to do, and I want to show you how you can do that here in this video. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how to install this plugin because it can be a little involved. The next thing we have to do is we have to encode the imagery. We can't just use the imagery we have. We have to take that imagery, run it through an encoding process so the model works on it, and then we can do this very simple one-click digitizing. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we need to do is we need to go find the GeoSAM QGIS plugin, and we're going to look at this documentation. I'm going to come down to read the docs here, and I'll put this link for you in the description so you can just click right on it. But we're going to have to follow this installation exactly. It's going to be a little more involved than some of the installations you may have done. Now, I want to make sure that I list something important here, and that is to do it the way I'm going to show you, you need to have installed QGIS using the OSGeo 4W network installer. And I have a video that shows you exactly how to do that. It's my preferred way to install QGIS. And it's going to give you the OSGeo 4W command prompt that we can then use to update the QGIS Python installation. We'll need to add some packages to that installation for this plugin to work. It's really easy to do, but if you don't have QGIS installed the way that the video I've linked below, my QGIS installation video, if you don't have it installed the way that shows, you're going to have some issues. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open the OSGeo 4W shell as an administrator. Now, it's possible that if you've installed this using just the standalone installer, that you'll be okay. I would recommend installing it the way I've shown you, just because it makes things so much easier and you know you've done it the right way. So let's go ahead and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to search for OSGeo 4W shell. You can see that here. We can open this or open as administrator. The way I've installed mine, I can just open it like this and we'll be okay. That's going to pull up a command prompt like so. Now, you can see here we have two versions to install. There's a GPU version. Not everyone has a GPU, so I'm going to go through the CPU version. The CPU version is also less involved. The downside is that it's going to be much slower to encode the images. Okay, so if you want to have fast image encoding and you have a GPU, you can follow this version. You need to make sure you install the CUDA toolkit properly, which there are tutorials out there for how to do that. But let's go with the CPU version. We're going to grab this line of code. Actually, I'm going to just grab from install over here. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my command prompt, my OSGeo 4W shell. I have two open. I'm just going to close this other one so it's out of the way. And I'm going to type pip, which is the Python install package, and I'm going to paste this in. So I want to install these packages, and I'm going to hit enter. Now, when this runs for me, you're going to see a different output because I've installed these packages already. It will go through and it will install all those packages for you, and it will put them on your QGIS Python installation, which is where you need them. All right, and once you have that, this is for Windows users here. If you're using Mac or Linux, you can see the other instructions here. It is just maybe a little more involved, but you can do that there. Now, the next thing is to install the GeoSAM plugin. So on Windows, I want to go to the path where my QGIS plugins are going to be installed. And I can do that by copying this path here and opening up my file explorer. And here I'm going to paste in that path and hit enter. And you can see it takes me there. So I'm in my app data, QGIS, QGIS3 profiles, default Python plugins. And you can see here, these are the plugins that I have installed. And I don't have that plugin installed, even though I have installed the Python packages, its dependencies. I have not installed the plugin. That's what we'll do next. So here, I'm going to come and I'm going to download this file. Now, I'm going to click here to go to, we're going to open this in a new tab. We'll open this in a new tab. We'll go to GitHub to show where this release is. And so we can see the latest release here. It's a stable release, version 1.3.2. And if I scroll down, you can see the code we have here. Now, there are three things. There's a tar.gz, a zip, and an update.zip. I'm going to start by downloading the source code.zip. Let's save that. It might take just a minute here. I'm also going to get the code update. Notice this was published later, and I just want to make sure I have the latest code, and I'll show you how to make sure we have everything updated. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Now I'm going to show this in the folder, which is in downloads. Actually, if I go to my downloads folder here, I have downloads here. We can refresh this, and you can see we have this GeoSAM 1.3.2 and the GeoSAM code update. I'm just going to grab these and copy them over into my plugins folder to make them easier to work with. You can download them directly here if you would like to. Now I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to use 7-zip, and I'm going to go show more options, 7-zip. I'm going to click extract here. And now this is going to be important. You want to make sure that you have this structure. So when you click into this, you want to see these files immediately. Oops. When you click into the unzipped or unpackaged folder, you want to see this file structure here immediately and not listed under a subfolder. If they're listed under a subfolder, you can just copy and paste or change your extraction method to get it in this format. Now, the next important thing is to change this file name so that it is just GeoSAM without the version number. Okay, so we have that there. I'm going to delete this folder to clean things up. Now, the next thing is to update the code. So I'm going to right click here, do the same thing. I'm going to click on show more options. I'm going to do 7-zip, and you can install 7-zip for Windows for free. And I'm going to click extract here. And now I get this notice that it's going to overwrite files, and I do want to overwrite the files. Okay, it says, would you like to replace an existing file with a new file? And I'm going to say yes to all. And that will give me the update. If you don't rename this file, it's not going to give you the update, and it will just put these in a new GeoSAM folder. Okay, so now that's going to be updated. So I can click here and delete this. Now I'm going to open QGIS, and when I do that, this new plugin, the GeoSAM plugin, will be available for me. So I'll just pause for a second while QGIS opens up. Okay, QGIS is open. Let's go into Plugins, Manage and Install Plugins. If I click on the Install tab, you will notice that I have GeoSAM right here. Yours may be clicked off, but if you go ahead and click that on, make sure that it's activated, and then you can click close. And what happens is once you've done that, you will see these three icons appear on the toolbar. Now, we can also access this from plugins, GeoSAM tools. We have Segmentation, Image Encoder, and the Encoder Copilot. We're just going to use the image encoder and the segmentation options today. The first one we want to use is the image encoder, which we can access here or from the toolbar. And what this will do is we'll take an image and encode it so we can then segment it. Let's go ahead and let me find the image I would like to encode to start out here. I believe I have one in my downloads. And let me just make sure I can find that real quick. It's not in my downloads, it's here in the surfaces folder. I'm just going to pull this one in like that. And you can see that image here. It's of this creek. Now, I'm not going to encode this whole image because it would take a very long time, but I will show you how to do this for a portion of the image. I'm going to come and click on the image encoder here. It gives me this prompt. It asks for the input raster. I then need to select some bands. I'm going to select bands 1, 2, and 3 for red, green, and blue. Band 4 is not an alpha band. It's something else. We're not going to worry about that now. And I will click OK. Now the processing extent, I don't want to process this whole image. It would take a very long time with the CPU. I'm going to draw on the map canvas to do a very small portion of this. And what I'm going to do is just this portion of the image right here. And the next thing I need to do is go back to the documentation to show you something important that we have not addressed yet. We need to go back to the documentation on the installation. So we've downloaded and configured the folder. We have the plugin folder configured. As I showed you, we just need to make sure that we have the proper file structure. We have activated the plugin. Now we can go over to the usage of the GeoSAM tools. And we want to go over and start with the image encoder. So I'm going to click on the image encoder option here. And you'll notice to do this, we need to download the SAM checkpoints. So these are the segment anything models. And I recommend starting out with this model here, the large model. Okay, so you want to use the base model you can use for coarser imagery. The large is a good place to start, and the huge is going to be best if you want to get a lot of detail. So you can play around with these. We need to download these and point our plugin to them. So I'm going to just click on this one and re-download to show you what it's like. So I'll re-download that so you can see that I'm doing it the same way you will do it. And as we go to the image encoder back in QGIS, it's going to ask us for the SAM checkpoint path, and that is what we are downloading right now. So I just received the notice that my model checkpoint was downloaded, so I'm going to go reference that here now. Click here, I'll go to my downloads. I just click on that model checkpoint and click open. And then here I need to make sure I select the proper option. I downloaded the large model here, the VIT_L, so I need to select that here. I'm going to turn off use GPU if CUDA is available because I did not install the dependencies and I don't want there to be any confusion. Next, I'm going to load the output features in the GeoSAM tool after processing. And then here, this is where the model features, the image features, the encoded features will be saved. So I'm going to come and just change this. I'm going to save to a directory, and I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call this my test features. So we have let's go up a level. Let me delete this folder. I don't want to put it here. Let's go up a level and let's make a new folder and we'll call this the test features. So we'll select this test features folder. This will save it in your plugins directory if you don't do that, so you don't need to do this, but I just want it in a place I can easily find it and delete it if I want to. And now I will click run. And this will start encoding the images. It will take some time. Depending on the size you do, it can take from a few minutes to several hours. So I'm going to pause this while it finishes encoding. You can see we're at 8% completed here. And I will pause that now. You can get an idea for how long this will take by the total batch number. Here you can see there are 12 batches. We've completed 4 of the 12, or we're working on 4 of 12. So when this completes, we should be at 33% done, and we are. And I'll come back with you once this is all finished encoding. Okay, so our image is finished encoding. I can close this now. And now I can open up the segmentation tool. So let's go GeoSAM segmentation. Now you'll notice when I open this up, it added in this test image, this demo image. I can adjust this by going to options and turning off the load demo image. And then I can remove this image. Let's remove that layer. And let's zoom to this layer. There we go. And now when I show the boundary, it didn't show up there. That's okay. But we can go to our IO paths. And here I want to select this where I saved those images. So I can come here and I can browse. I put this, you'll notice here that in GeoSAM features, at this path here in my plugins, that's where it saved that. So if you just select the default path, if you go there, go to your GeoSAM plugin location in your app data folder, you can find your features there. I put mine in downloads and in test features, and it went into here, so I can select that folder. And now I can load that. We got an error. Hopefully it's not a fatal error. I want to create a new location for my output features to go. These are the ones I will create. So I'm going to click create and we'll put that up here. I'm going to make this a geo package and we'll call this test features and we'll save it. Oops. Test features and save. Oh, it's because I didn't put a file. Let's go test features.gpkg, and now we'll save it. And now we have this test features geo package. I'm going to options, and it shouldn't show me the boundary. It's not showing me the boundary, but that's okay. We can still do this. We can go to our prompts. And now we have a few different prompts. Let me find the location we were looking at. I believe it was this location here. And we can use this is for foreground points, this is for background points. So we can use points. So if I want to select, say, this piece of vegetation, this tree, what was out of the feature boundary? So I found the issue. It is that I didn't load the correct folder. So let's go here. We go to my downloads. I put the features in test features. They went in this April 9th, 2019 ortho. And inside of there is another folder. And if I go in there, I need to come up and click this folder here, the SAM features, VITL bands 1, 2, 3. If I load this, we should have this work. So if I click select folder, and now if I click load, there we go. Now I get a message saying that was successful. And once I have that, I've already created my geo package where the outputs will go. Now I can zoom in. I can go to my prompts. I can select foreground and background points. So let me show you how this works. So we have foreground here. I can zoom in on a feature. And let's say I want to digitize this tree or shrubbery, whatever it is. I can click on it. And it will usually give me a polygon. All right, so I found the issue here also. This test features layer was created when I had the wrong input folder, and so it created it at the location of the other of the demo image. So I'm just going to remove this. Let's remove this layer, and we're going to create a new layer. We'll put this up here. We'll call this test. Call it the same thing, test features geo package. We'll click save. We will overwrite it. Now let's try this again and see if things work. So if we go to our prompts and we click our foreground, we should get a polygon when I click here. And there you go. You can see we have a polygon. And now maybe I want to get a polygon for this one. I can just click on it and I get another polygon. And you can see here that I haven't saved that, so it connects those two polygons together into one feature. Once I have that, I can click Save, and it will save those into my geo package. Now, let's say I want to use a different method. I can click on Bounding Box, and I can come in and I can select uh, these features here roughly. That wasn't quite big enough, so I can clear that, and I can try a little larger bounding box, and it selects that entire feature, and I can click Save here. And I can go through and I can do this for all of these features. Now, we might run into some issues, and let me demonstrate this here. Hopefully it's large enough. If I try to do a very large area, that's not large enough. Let me try something else, something up here. Okay, you'll notice it just selected one little portion there. Or if I try to get all of these defoliated things here, oh, I got all of them. But if you try to do this, maybe try to do the water. If you try to do this with some larger features, and that didn't really, oh god, didn't really do anything. If you try to do this with larger features, you will run into some issues. We got some out there, and that's because the way this segmentation works is it works on 1024 by 1024 pixel chunks. And so if you try to segment something larger than that, you will get some issues or some artifacts. Um, let me show you one. Let me try to get one other example here. Let's say I'm trying to segment something here and I click on this and I want to add some of these points and it just selects too much. We can put in some background points to try and exclude different aspects of this and try to shrink it down to what I'm interested in. I'm going to cancel that. It's not what I want. Let's try to set this water over here. I'm going to select some foreground like this and some foreground here. And that expanded it out pretty well. But maybe I don't want to get these little dirt patches. So I click background on that, background there, background on that. And you can see how it adapts in real time to adjust with my selections. So that's how easy it can be, and you can save that feature also to your shapefile, to your geo package. Now, when I open this up, you can see that we have a feature. We can select these here. Let me just slide this out of the way a little bit. You can see that we can select those features that we have digitized through our segmentation model. And so this can be a very big time saver, a great way to integrate what you can call artificial intelligence or deep learning into your GIS workflow. Okay, I hope you found this useful. As always, opensourceoptions.com has more information. You can go there, sign up for the email list so you get notified as our free courses start coming out. Thank you for watching. If you liked this, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and I hope you have a wonderful day.